What is going on, good people? Welcome to my live. I hope everyone is doing well wherever you are, whether you're in the States, Europe, or anywhere in Africa, East, West, South Africa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a lot to talk about. Obviously, the big topic, which we'll get into, is the building safety issues, and that's obviously spawned by the issue of the building collapse in Westlands. We will be covering this topic from all angles. I'm hoping some of my Kenyan friends slash watchers slash especially some real estate people will tune in and give their commentary on what's going on and their perspective, especially about some of the approval processes and their perspective. But I'm going to do the best I can to cover this topic in the way that I always do. With nuance, this topic is for people with critical thinking. Um, Too many people are moved by headlines, just like with the floods. Everyone asks about the floods as they see a video about them without the context, especially for people that aren't familiar with different areas and how things are going. And so we're going to cover everything. We're going to cover, hopefully, we can look at some of the approval processes, what we should do as purchasers, investors, relocators, or local buyers. How can you avoid problems? What are the best practices? Why is this happening? What factors are contributing to the building collapses? What, how is that being handled in a whole bunch of different aspects? Actually, let me fix this because it's rubbing. What do you think? Well, okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. What do you think with the recently dropped apartment? Okay. We're going to get into it, but this is kind of what I'm talking about because we got to be detailed about how we're talking about these things because no one else hyperbole hyperbole is rampant and running amok everywhere, and the problem is everyone on every side says the most extreme thing possible, and social media is such a big player in that. And it's important to look at all of the factors and look at everything that's going on objectively to figure out how to move and what to do. Yes, and I've had my boots on the ground literally right near these right near where that particular building fell or partially collapsed. I was on other buildings that are in under construction. I've been in many buildings, and I do need to talk about that, especially because I was at another building recently, like on the unfinished levels. And so, you know, I'm I was talking to Kai about this the other day. It's like we've been to like 20, 30 different buildings, most of them under construction. Like we're really out here um, taking the time to do it, but also it's a physical thing going up and down the floors because the lifts aren't working. I climbed 19 floors. We'll talk about that. Um, in construction zones, anything can happen. There's debris falling. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So like, I'm in it. So I'm going to give you the best perspective I can because again, I'm in these buildings. Okay. So understand, I have an invested interest in speaking about this because I don't want anything, I'm in one of these off-plan buildings, okay? So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Nice interview with Web Nation. Congratulations. Thank you. So that's what I wanted to talk about. First, what I realized about what I do is I never talk about myself. The only time I really talk about myself is on the live. So some of you live viewers might kind of be familiar with me more generally, but I'm not in a lot of my own content. I never really talk about myself. So I did Web Nation Africa interview, and then I did one with Traverse Culture, where she's driving and talking, which I still think is really hard to do here in Nairobi. But somehow Kia can multitask. So if you guys are interested in that, please check it out. To me, it was very cringe, and I hated hearing myself talk the whole time. I hated all my answers. I tried to keep it real, but I'm like not that emotional of a guy about some of this stuff. And so, especially Web Nation, I'm like, I don't know how to answer some of these questions, but they did a fantastic job editing, and I think it came out pretty good. I can't watch it, but you guys can watch it. So let me know. Yeah, I have way more appreciation for you guys visiting on site. Especially because, so I went and got some drone footage, which required us to go onto the roof of the building. It's crazy. There's like rebar sticking out everywhere. You could impale yourself. We do a lot. As an investor, this scares the crap out of me. Did I F up my money on Nairobi, Kenya real estate? We will talk about it. I know everyone wants clear answers about things, but I never really have a clear answer. All I can do is provide the information or my perspective, and let you guys come to your own conclusions about what you want to do. And that leads me to, obviously, we've soft launched Almasi Realty, which is our real estate brokerage services that we're doing here in Nairobi. I will be starting to train the team next week, but we have soft launched. But I'm the whole company right now, but we do have 2 employees signed up coming on board, local Kenyans, contributing to the community and salaries and such. And yeah, we've soft launched, and we've helped a couple people already through the purchasing process. I've had hours-long conversations with some of our clients already. With this topic has come up, and we've been talking about a lot of things, and I think we're doing pretty good as far as helping people not mess their money up. But I'll let you know where there's certain things that we just can't have answers to. Otis Carr, what's going on? Big O, what's up? Thanks for holding it down while I'm away. I know I've been asking you to do a lot of things. But so Almasi Realty, I'll put it in the chat. I'm burning some time so more people get in here, because I know so many people want to talk about this. I always have to tread lightly on the politics aspect, but I'll try to cover some a little bit. Kenyan ministry says developers get building permission with a qualified contractor, then switch builder to a cheaper unqualified one. Yes, that's the oldest trick in the book. People do that in the US. You'll get an electrician to sign for the permits, and then you have somebody else do the work. And then, but here's the thing. If there's an issue, they come for the person who signed for the work regardless. And we're going to talk about all these things. Again, with the politics, we got to, keep it very respectful as a guest here. You can't be going crazy, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Nairobi Barbie, what's going on? How are you? All right. So we've wasted enough time. Let's just get into it. And obviously, you guys are part of this, and I want to have a conversation and see how everyone feels. Hopefully, Oscar from Elite Sanctuaries comes in. He's very knowledgeable. He's an agent here locally. I probably should call him. Let me send him a message because I think he'd be a good person to talk to. Sorry, I just thought about this. Would you like to chat about these buildings on the live? I would like to, I respect his opinion, so it'd be really cool to have him on. I don't know if he'll be shy, and I'm going to talk about this as a big narrative. Again, it's hard to talk about this stuff without one, sounding very critical of the country, and number two, and so when you sound critical, people will say that, you know, get out of here, stop talking about this, etc. And then the other issue, well, that's the thing that's kind of problematic. And then for me, talking about any of the politics is a little bit difficult. So we're going to try to tread lightly. But in the U.S., someone goes to jail in Kenya with so much indebtedness to China, the Chinese can literally do what they want. The Chinese aren't the ones signing for the buildings as engineers generally. Hello, Dr. Decca. How are you? Nairobi Financial, good evening. Nice recent interview to learn a bit more about you. Yes, if you want to learn about me, you have to watch other people's content because I don't talk about myself that much. Okay. See, all right. So let's gather some information before we talk about this, okay? Let's pull up this one. And I noticed some things while we're talking about these stories. See, I'm on my laptop. It's a little hard to navigate when I bring up screens. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Okay, Kenyans.co.ke. This is one that you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Oh, excuse me. They will help you stay informed with what's going on. March 19th, 2026 at 7:44 a.m. Police have confirmed, and this is really sad actually, like police have confirmed that at least one has died while 3 others have been rescued, and I think one's in the hospital. The police said the building had reached 22 floors and the upper floor caved in, trapping the 4 workers who were present at 8 p.m. along School Lane, which is in Westlands, almost in Brookside. Why are they on the roof at 8 p.m.? We'll talk about it. This is the update. And then the building has collapsed in Nairobi Westlands area, leaving at least 2 workers trapped. The incident comes amid a worrying rise in building collapses across Nairobi in recent months, raising fresh concerns over construction safety and enforcement of building standards. Kenyan Red Cross confirmed that 4 workers were at the site along School Lane near the Bank of Africa when the 22-story building under construction partially collapsed. 2 of them escaped unhurt, etc., etc. Emergency response teams were quickly dispatched to the scene and have been working through the night to rescue the individuals. And my heart goes out to the individual that lost their life. And that's first of all, this needs to be the number one thing. There's a lot of guys and ladies. There's actually a lot of ladies that work in these buildings as well. So people in general, there's a lot of people that work on these buildings. And I imagine they're not getting paid that much. And they're working very, very, very hard. I have done a lot of different types of construction stuff. And I can tell you, I see them carrying concrete around. I see them sanding plaster. I see them, building blocks, like moving cinder blocks, doing really, really, really tough work. And the conditions are quite rough. The equipment is quite rough. People in there with sandals. I don't. I don't see a lot of gloves and glasses and protection for a lot of people. And so these people are really literally giving their bodies to the work that they're doing for not a lot of money. And I don't like to moralize on things, but I want to respect the workers and just commend that they're doing really hard work. And it's definitely not easy. I'm telling you, I've done this type of stuff with under way better conditions, and it's already hard. So some of the conditions, and just the situation is really challenging, and I empathize with the people doing the work. And then for someone, I'm sure people get injured quite a bit. I don't know anything about the statistics on people being injured, and I'm probably sure no one collects the data on that. And are they taken care of after they're injured? I doubt it, and there's not that much safety precautions. I'm not saying it's always like criminally bad, but at the same time, I can see how people can get hurt quite frequently. And the fact that someone lost their life from a preventable situation, and very likely because of a lot of different factors that really shouldn't exist, is sad and frustrating. And I really think that I hope that, and Kenyans probably don't have any confidence that this will get better, but I really hope that something can be done, because it's like these are just working people that are at risk, not even worrying about the real estate market and the investors part. Like, people shouldn't be getting hurt and losing their lives because of basically ignorance and being cheap and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite a bit frustrating to me. Let's cover some other news on this. So I wanted to play this video. Let me make sure it's up here. Yeah. So this is Citizen TV Kenya. And if you want to know about like what's going on, you should follow all these channels, because you will start learning like the sense of things and getting an idea. And I'm going to point something out, because I've looked at multiple articles and I was unable to find a very important piece of information, but let me play this.
Back to the capital, where one person died after the top floor of a 22-story building that is under construction collapsed on Wednesday night, injuring others in Westlands, Nairobi County. Now, Governor Johnson Sakaja says the county had approved the construction, but along the way, the developer engaged the wrong contractor. The governor says they're now going after the contractor, warning developers to stop using qualified professionals to obtain approvals, only to later switch to unskilled contractors.
So the rest of the video is just B-roll. Actually, I'll play it here. The other interesting thing, in all the articles, I had to ask people, what project was it? Because none of these news articles referenced who the developer was or what project it was, which is going to lead us into a conversation about different levels of accountability and different systems that are failing. And I may be, and this, guys, I get worried about talking about this stuff because there's things that I don't know and don't understand about how things work that I want to tread very lightly about. But look, every project has a billboard like this that says who the architect is, who the contractor is, structural consultant, mechanical consultant. These are the people that on paper are taking responsibility for the project to the government. Now, if then the developer starts getting someone else to come there, then what? So let me go back to here. Okay, let's check some of the comments while we were doing that. The building that collapsed was a single residence building, not an apartment building. No, it was an apartment building. Do they require any fees or HOA fees on these apartments? Yes, they require HOA. Africans don't like truth. We get emotional when foreigners tell us the truth about our homeland, so I feel your pain on that. After the 22 Westlands building, I mean, what? I think Kenya is in trouble right now, especially with the Middle East war. Kenyan imports 90%. I actually think they're benefiting from the Middle East issue. And how is insurance coverage due to all the safety standards? Who's the developer? Exactly. They don't say who the developer is. I had to go ask around. I was dang near going to have to go drive over there and see, because there's 3 projects on School Lane right now. So I was like, which one is it? And I was asking, why the heck are the journalists hiding who the developer is? I feel like that's part of the problem, is that there's lack of accountability. But let's dive deeper into the fact that even the journalists protect the identity of the people that are doing projects that the building is collapsing. Because the same thing happened with South Sea and the Karen project and all that. If that happens almost anywhere else, they're going to plaster this company's building collapsed here. You know what that's going to do? It's going to make it real hard to be a company when your buildings collapse, because no one's going to buy your stuff anymore, because no one's going to want things to fall down. But it's going to go to you as a developer, because you are ultimately responsible for the building. Whether you do some corrupt stuff with the different engineers or different contractors, if I'm a developer, if Ryan's a developer and I'm building a building and it falls down, if people know that I build buildings that fall down, the market will solve for this problem by not buying. But it will not work if they hide the information. See, the lack of transparency allows for this kind of stuff to happen, because accountability becomes hard to locate on who. And I feel like in Africa and Kenya, people will resort, they will just say the government's corrupt. That's their answer to everything. I feel like that is a very unproductive thing to say. It may be true, but how, who, what, when, why? Like just saying, oh, it's corrupt, oh, oh, well, then, I mean, you're just accepting that. Now, the developer was Haas Consult, one of the most reputable developers in Nairobi. They also charge a lot of money for their projects, extra money, because they have a good reputation. The particular project was Lumen. Let me not say it wrong, because it sounds like another project. Let's just it's this one. This is the building that fell, or the top, the one corner fell. I'm sorry. This is literally the project. This is up. So Oh, I'm sorry. It's not on the screen. There we go. This is the project. The one bedroom starting at 150,000. So I don't look at Hoskett-Sold stuff because they don't interact with the market. Like they just ghost me. They don't even speak to me. Once they saw who I was, they just ran away. Because I've tried. I wanted to look at one of their properties, Enrogue, which was on Olatoktok Road, close to where Berkeley Homes is, and they just straight up ghosted me. I am biased that I don't particularly like this developer for my reasons, but I'll tell you that this changes a lot for the market, and I hope it's a reckoning for building safety and the city planning situation, because Hoskett-Sold is a very reputable developer, whether you like them or not. And a lot of the other collapses were by, again, I don't even know who those developers were, but they weren't major developers. And it was happening in places like South Sea and, well, Karen is nice, but usually it's happening in down market places where the building quality, my interpretation would have been less. But now it's happened at a very expensive development in Westlands. Now, I must say that the whole building didn't fall down. The top of the building fell down. Let me share this picture because this is important. So this is actually a picture of the project and what actually happened. So you see this two kind of like towers. The top two levels, I think it was the 22nd floor, fell at 8 p.m. Why at night? Why were there people there at night? Remind me to talk about that. I have information, or people are telling me things, but I don't like repeating stuff that I don't know is confirmed. This is the problem why everything's hard to talk about here, because how the heck do you know what's true and not true? So that's the top of the building that fell. Okay, so now because now I feel like if a Hoskett-Sold building can collapse, honestly, anybody in any other upmarket developer could have the same issue. And how the heck are we going to know who was using good building practices and not? Like, how can we know? You can't trust the government approvals, of course. And so where does that leave us? Nairobi needs to step up on quality control and materials, concrete, rebar, and proper surveyors throughout the construction period. Also, the project management and consultant should monitor the build. So you have to create systems that create accountability for these things to happen. Hard hats, they give us hard hats, but a lot of them don't be having hard hats all the time. Congratulations on Web Nation Africa. Thought there's one thing you and other Americans say that I don't. Let me know later. I want to stay on this topic, but instead of investing your money in properties in Kenya, invest in the stock market for 3 years, then investing in Kenya. What's the guarantee these projects will be completed? Sure. Okay. I don't know why people feel the need to like tell other people how to invest their money. Like, why do you do that? Because I don't tell people to like, I'm not telling you to invest in whatever. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. I also invest in the stock market. I invest in Kenyan stocks. I have some money in wealth management in Kenya. I do all these things. But if you do it, I don't care what you do. I don't get it. Kenyan is the developer and contractor. Haas is the marketing development. Yes, stock markets are also exposed to risks. Oh my gosh, here we go with this. The Indians, Arabs, and Chinese builders care very much little about the workers. They barely consider Black Africans human. Do you think the Kenyan developers do anything different? This has nothing to do with the race of the people. For once, they're not blaming the architect. Architects are always used as scapegoats for collapsed buildings when in reality the issue is between the developer contract. So, okay. Let's I always wanted to do this. So let's do this here. How can I share the screen? Sorry guys, I'm taking a second to window. Let's see if we're able to get this. Excuse me. Okay. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but okay. We have the workers. Oh gosh, let's make this bigger. We have the people working. Sorry, I don't use paint, so this is hard. Let me take this comment away. All right, we got the guys working, right? Then we have like the manager / foreman. How do I move this? Oh my God. Got the manager. Then we got, what are the tiers? So we have the owner, shareholders up here. How the heck do you move this stuff? You got the owners and shareholders. We have like the CEO and management team. We have, oh, let's call them upper management. What other characters do we have in here in an organization? Then you got the government. Oh my gosh, this is not working good. Sorry guys, it's a little awkward here. Hopefully you get my point. You have the inspectors. You have like the office people. I don't know. The office people at the government probably go up above the inspectors. Okay. This is ugly, but what my thing is all these different levels can have problems, right? Like, so I could hire someone. So for example, I hired someone to install internet in my unit. And the guy came and he was like unscrewing things from the wall and then putting them back on. And what I noticed is he wouldn't use all the screws that he took out when he was putting the plates back on. So I'd have to be like, yo, man, put it back the way it was. So that's like me being the manager over the worker, because the worker was going to leave my stuff jacked up. And so I had imagined at these developments that the workers need supervision. When I'm at these developments, I don't really see a lot of supervision. And I suspect there's not a lot of supervision because stuff is messed up and they just walk right by it. Like, for example, I was at a sales office the other day and there was like broken glass in the middle of the hallway. And I'm like, is somebody going to clean this up? There's workers walking past it. There's the salespeople walking past it. Like, this is your sales office. You got broken glass in your project right by the sales office in the building. What the F are y'all doing? Okay, so where is the failure in that scenario? Because I was in the military, so I'm getting anxiety standing there because if your leadership walked by, if there was a piece of trash on the ground and you walked by it and a senior leader saw you walk by a piece of trash and not pick it up, they're going to come scream in your face and they may report you to your unit. You could get in a lot of trouble. And so it's a culture and a system that doesn't allow mediocrity and doesn't allow apathy. So the reason why I was trying to make this pyramid is, where are the breakdowns? And I know that it's more than one. And so that's kind of what I want to examine and talk about. But let's hit some of the comments and then we'll get back to this really ugly drawing that I did, okay? Luxury developments not using skilled labor is very concerning. I figured corners were being cut, but pure unskilled labor is wild. That is the strategy. They just throw people at it. Stuff gets broken, they fix it again, they waste materials, they fix it again. That is what's going on. It will get better. This is unfortunately part of the growing pains. That's something that I usually say, but you know, to me, this is kind of like a turning point because they gotta do something. People are dying. And if people lose trust in the building safety, this whole thing goes away. And so I've been getting closer to talking, like I've talked to a couple of the developers and I bring up the building safety issue and I don't think they get my point because I asked them, because I'm going to do some interviews with some developers coming up. And it's actually good that this happened before I did some of those interviews, is you guys need to be transparent about your building safety measures. You guys should be telling us what kind of concrete, where it came from. You guys should be telling us what your safety measures are, because it will, first, guys, business, I know people get mad at capitalism and everything, but here's how it's supposed to work, right? And I was alluding to it before. If Ryan has a reputation for building nice houses, then when I come to you and say, I'm going to build you a nice house, you're more willing to give me money. You're more willing to trust me. You're more willing to do business. If my reputation is that I build houses that are dangerous, I will go away because I will go broke from not having money because you guys wouldn't buy from me. That's how it's supposed to work. And so I'm trying to talk to the developers like, guys, you should be more transparent about this stuff. And I don't think they get it yet, but you know, I have seen the developers change their behavior based off of input, things that I have said, others have said, what the industry is saying. So it's not like it's useless, which is actually encouraging. But I think that this is going to have to be a thing because it's happened enough where I think it's legitimate for people to be concerned. Like if you came to me and said, I'm worried about buying a building off plan or whatever because of the building safety, the only thing I can tell you is the developer's track record, if I think it's good or not. But at the end of the day, even a good developer track record at this point is not a protection against this stuff, because that was my argument before. That was when the South Sea collapse and all that other stuff was happening. I was like, that's down market stuff. That's not the up market stuff. Now I really don't have, I would just say that buying is a risk. Now, me personally, that doesn't make me want to like take my money out or anything. But when I went to the Diplomat the other day to get some drone footage because we're doing a video about the show house and the locate. I wanted to show you guys locations more. So in the new content, you'll be seeing that. And so I paid a drone operator, but I had to go with them. So we had to go up 19 stories on the Diplomat. It's still under construction. And actually, I got to witness like how they do each level, because I was wondering, I don't really know concrete construction like that. So they build like a wood form on all the ground on top of the pillars, because the main beams are the ones that hold the building up. And then they basically pour another foundation on the wood and then have the rebar in there and let it cure. Well, it's been raining a whole lot. How does all that rain affect the concrete curing? How long does it have to dry for before you could start working on the next level? And then the other thing is they just have metal poles holding it up while it's drying. And the metal poles aren't affixed to the grid. They're just in there, and they're all kinds of different angles, and it's very chaotic looking and it's not very organized. And so I'm literally on top of all this stuff the other day. And did I feel safe? Not really. Also, there's no like barrier on the edge. Like if you fall off, you're just going to fall off. I mean, why would you walk to the edge of the building? But there are guys working over like near the edges, which is pretty scary. So I don't know. I don't know what to say other than with the building safety as far as advice for me, because I feel a little scared too. Dr. Deca, my heart goes out to the individual that passed away. I'm grateful to the workers and hope those in charge will take more care of them. These workers are contributing. Exactly. It's crazy. It's not acceptable. We owe it to them. This stuff has to get better. We call our version of HOA fees service charges. Yes. It's interesting that nothing was collapsing before the minute. Oh, I don't think that, this is. Does anyone know if there are any earthquake-proof requirements? I think what we're saying is that the requirements could be on paper, but are they actually adhering to them? The developed will just change the name. And that's exactly why the company name is strategically not disclosed. This is your welcome to Africa incident. Now, stop typing in caps, bro. I'm not reading that. Dang, that was Hosconsult. Well, Hosconsult, you're right, is the marketing company. Kenyan is the developer. Africans accept cross. Dude, stop with the caps. You're going to get banned. The thing about not naming the developers behind collapsed building as cultural. See, now you're going to get me in trouble. We have a big man syndrome where power and wealthy people identities are hidden. Okay, so then they are just going to keep, there's no accountability. Well, looks amazing. Commit crimes. There are more premium. Cost consult, yes. If these buildings are new and they are falling, how about when they get old and the maintenance fees are too low? That's another concern. I'm not surprised that it's Oscar sold. I work in the industry, and it said that they had been involved in. Yeah, but it's been said. This is again the accountability. Like everything can be said. What's going on? They only have one good property. They have lots of good locations. I'll tell you that. Can they just be using cheap materials? Okay, so the reason why I brought up this whole thing is because is it the materials? Is it the oversight? Is it the workers? Is it the lack of management? Where are the faults? Because from my perspective, anytime I hire a worker to do something, it's very frustrating and they cut corners at the lowest level. If you hire a regular person to paint your house, they're going to try to do it as lazy and cheap as possible. Most people, I'm sorry. So then you got to, and then, so this is a shorter tier of thing, right? Because it's just me, the person paying for the service and the person doing the service. But now I have to like, don't give them a big deposit. Then I got to watch them work and complain about everything while they're doing it so that they know I'm serious, and I'm not going to allow them to cut corners, because if they feel like you will allow them to cut corners, they will. Does that happen elsewhere? Yes, but I will say that it's to more of a degree, because there are people take their trade seriously in other places more than what I've seen here, to be honest. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Or at least it's my experience. Maybe I'm only seeing one side of something. In their quarterly reports on rental yields, at least they're honest and provide data about ROI. How do you know their data is accurate? Despite all of this, I can't wait to move to Kenya. See, that's kind of where I am on this kind of stuff anyway. We talk about it so that we can navigate it better, not that, you know, it's keeping people away. You have project managers and construction managers. Yeah, like, so there should be lots of managers walking around, and I don't know if they are or not, because I can't really tell who's who, but I don't see a lot of correcting going on. This is good organizational structure for off plans. If you see it, say something. I find it very insulting. These developers can never get away with this in China. I would back off of that kind of stuff, because that was kind of my perspective, that these outsiders come here and take advantage of stuff. I feel like the local, like, I get that narrative, but I don't think that's, I think maybe they can come with that, but it goes deeper. It's Chinese contractors. You need American contractors who follow OSHA. But the thing is, they will quickly stop following these things if they don't have to. How can it get better if these things have been going on for years? With systems and government and change happens slowly. So I would suspect that maybe it was worse before. I think it was worse before. Actually, the Chinese developers have upped the game in a lot of different ways as far as quality, delivering on time. The Chinese, if you talk to local real estate people here, many people credit the Chinese with lifting the levels. So be careful. I don't like this race-based stuff, nationality-based stuff where someone's from. Like I always say, there's some trash Chinese developers and there's some great Chinese developers. I'm sure there's bad Somali developers. I'm sure there's some good Somali developers. Indians, the same thing. Kenya needs to enact OSHA laws. It's not about laws. Laws are just things on paper. See, and this is what I'm talking about with the breakdown. You can pass whatever law you want. They, like these developers, if they hire a construction company to build the building, and then because they have the license, and then they get cheaper labor to actually build the building, and nothing bad happens to them for doing that. It doesn't matter what the law says. The law only works when there's enforcement. Also, I want to say, yes, that government and enforcement and rules are important, but you could also go the other way where you can't build nothing in the US because there's too many laws and there's too many agencies and you got to pay too many people and you got to get all these kind of permits and licenses and all this crazy stuff. And now our housing's super expensive. Who checks these track records? Because they could know. You go to the buildings that they built. They just started projects in Kenya and they are now talking about 15 to 20-year projects. No one's talking about criminal investigations. Yeah, exactly. Like, what happened with the accountability from the other collapses? That's part of the problem. Ryan, don't apologize. Many of we Kenyans have been saying the same thing for years. Lack of accountability, shortcuts. Business idea, school for construction worker training. Does anyone in this chat have experience in construction education? The thing is, are they going to pay more for these trained people? Because I do agree that having like a school and having like a program and then being able to go to that school and having a certification from that program could add some credibility to the type of workers versus if I want to hire a painter, I just have to keep asking people and then hope that the one that I feel like is going to be good is actually good versus maybe a school that has a credential that, hey, I went to this school for this and it has a standard. The Chinese, like I said, can do what they want because Kenya is in this. Oh my gosh, this guy. Great video on Web Nation. I know how to fix your dirty grout problem. Just use black grout. We have to actually fix the problem, though. We have to do good. The race thing is unavoidable in Kenya. Ask about that. Oh, yeah, I understand. That's because they're creating the race thing with that, though. But just attributing building quality to race is different than certain communities trying to exclude other communities. Hey, Ryan, did you just start? Nope, we're an hour in. We already have such schools. The issue is government and industry enforcement of rules. Yeah, but see, people blame the government in this aspect, but you don't need the government for that. You would just need to convince people that they should hire people from certain schools. Yes, certification. You don't need the government doing it, though. Subcontracting takes place in the U.S. as too. Likewise, buildings have fallen in the U.S. Yes, true. I think I really think the problem is accountability. And that's why I'm a little annoyed when even the journalists don't list. You can find out who the contractors are, but they don't put their names out there. And then if that contractor's name comes up as a headline that they were the one that was responsible for the building that collapsed, you can do a search. This is why we use FKC Legal. In their due diligence, they look at that stuff. So if they know that this company has had a building collapse or a safety incident, then that will come up in the lawyer's report because they can search that stuff. So whether they're actually using that contractor or not, that's the one that signed for it. And see, in the US, if you're an electrician and you sign for bad work, they're going to come after you if there's a problem. If there's an electrical fire, it don't matter who did the work, you signed for it and you're accountable for it. So I think that small thing fixes a lot of this. I think it's easier said than done. The other issue is contractors hire the cheapest untrained workers, right? Yeah, that's what my issue was. Most contractors are employing cheap laborers. Okay, you know why they're hiring cheap laborers? Is because they can. Because they can hire cheap laborers, have a building collapse, and people still buy their product. Because they're not being held accountable by the journalists, they're not being held accountable by the government. So there's a lot of different ways to solve this. Because even if they didn't go to jail, if you knew, if the information was transparent, they would go out of business. So it wouldn't even pay. You can't hire cheap laborers because if you risk your building being bad or falling or having a problem, then it would financially benefit you to get the certified people. Accountability and quality assurance. I don't think you need any school. How come Mexicans don't even speak English and they build better in America? I think it's more supervising your job. There's also something to be said about culture of like craftsmanship. Because from my interactions, people just don't take pride in the work. I've dealt with mechanics. I've dealt with painters. I've dealt with fundies, carpenters, the internet guy, the people that do the plumbing. And I don't see a lot of people taking pride in the work that they do, at least from my interaction. If they could do it a little cheaper and worse, and you don't say nothing, they'll just give it to you. Like, I'm not saying this is everybody, but a lot of Mexicans doing work, whether it's roofing or whatever they're doing, tile work, they stand back and appreciate it when they're done. Like, dang, look at how nice it is. No one had to, you didn't have to like stand over their shoulder to make sure that they did it good. They did it good because your work is a reflection of you. If you put bad works into the world, if you're manifesting bad things, if you're creating garbage, that is kind of a reflection on you. That's kind of how I feel, but maybe that's how you're raised. That's how like you look at things versus, oh, let me just do this thing so I can get some money and let me just do it as fast and not worry about how good it is. And if he don't say nothing, because I don't think he knows what he's talking about, then oh well. And I'm not saying it only happens in Kenya, that you can hire bad contractors anywhere. But the pride of ownership or pride of workmanship, it's an income problem. I'm curious that you asked what the people were doing. So the speculation, I have no idea, this is not confirmed, is that some of their projects have been known to be taking longer, and so they've been pushing the limits on the time, so they were trying to get stuff done later. Like, for example, the building next to me, I hear that excavator going on at night. How would they do an excavation in the dark? I don't know. Web Nation is used. That's crazy. And then I happened to end up going to Tanzania while that was getting released. I was getting so many messages I wasn't able to reply. Is there a shortage in qualified laborers due to the rise? This is the thing. I didn't go to construction school, and I don't think I'm that good, but some of the things that I see these guys doing, I can do better. And they've been doing it a long time. Like the guys that came and built my balcony cabinets for the washer dryer, I could have done better than what they did. They painted it like they were 5 years old. There's paint lines everywhere. They painted over the hinges. They didn't measure it right. It was the wrong size. They cut it and then put putty to reattach the wood, which doesn't work. The whole thing was crooked. And when I was like, bro, like, what is this? They're like, oh, you don't understand. This is Kenya. That's what he said to me. I was like, so you can't measure properly? You can't paint properly because we're in Kenya? Like, what are you talking about? You gave me the price. Like, I'm not a carpenter, and you sell carpentry products, and this is what you do? That ain't nobody's fault but theirs. Talking about, oh, they don't get paid. No. You didn't measure. You paint it lazy. You paint it over hinges. All you have to do is take the door off and then paint it and then put the door on. 30 seconds. Better product. Why do you have paint marks all over? Like, and there's endless excuses. Oh, well, they're not trained. I'm not trained. They have more experience than me and still doing it bad. And I'm sorry, guys. Like when I see them doing cinder blocks, it looks a whole mess. I've done cinder blocks one time. I promise you, if I built a wall and they built a wall, my wall would be better. Sorry. From the workers that I'm looking at. And they do it all the time. Now, could you say the conditions and they're not? I get it. But like, come on. Yes, Almasi Realty. People need quality guarantees when they invest. How does a guarantee work here in Kenya? What's the enforceability of a guarantee? No, there's no shortage. Technical institutes churn out qualified tradespeople every day. The issue is, and I have seen some contracting companies that their work look really good online. So I know that good craftspeople exist. I've tried to reach out. I wanted to collaborate and do some content and interview them and go look at some of their stuff that they're building, but they never freaking answer me. So we're left with what we've experienced. I've literally tried to reach out to people that look like they are. I wanted to interview them about these type of topics, but you know, people hide. They don't, and I get it. They don't, you know, whatever. But it's funny. I like their work, and that's why I reach out to them. But you know, whatever. Nairobi County is terrible. Other counties like Kiambu are better regulated. That's another thing I want to talk about. So, Nairobi County is supposed to, by this by the, I think the Supreme Court has ordered this, or the courts in Nairobi have ordered this, that the zoning laws have to be updated in Nairobi County. And, you know, I'm hoping that because of all the development and money and stuff, that it's taken very seriously and that they improve the zoning laws and the enforcement and maybe tackle some of this building safety stuff. Because I could see a situation like let this happen, let this keep happening. All this money coming in will all go away, and it's billions of dollars, like dollars. It'll all go away. They'll go somewhere else. Instead of all these people investing in Nairobi, they'll go to Cape Town. They'll go to Johannesburg. They'll go. They probably won't go to Tanzania. They probably won't go to Uganda. Maybe they go to Rwanda. You know, so keep playing around, because I'm sure some of you guys that are planning to buy are now a little concerned about it. And I don't blame you. If you came to me and said, Ryan, I want to buy in Nairobi, I want to buy some apartment, whatever, but I'm scared about this issue. All I cannot tell you, like, I'm not qualified to inspect the building. Yes, I could look at certain things. I don't know if it's going to collapse or not. I could tell you if the grout work is bad. I could tell you if they, like the struggle mortar when they're doing the cinder blocks. I could tell you it looked like a struggle. I'll tell you that they're using cheap materials, if they are. I'll tell you that this doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. But can I tell you that the building is overall safe? I can't tell you that. And I mean, if you're in the US and you go in a building, you didn't inspect the building. The reason why you trust that the building is safe is because that you believe that the systems work to ensure that whoever built the building and however they built it was in a safe manner. And so that's where we are at with this right now. I'm not shaken where I'm like, okay, I'm not buying anything or I'm out. But if someone felt like if they felt that way, I think at this point it's legitimate, and I think it's just a warning. Kenya and Nairobi, get this building safety under control, and the developers. See, you can rely on government, but you could also rely on the market. Because if people stop buying, then the developers are going to have to get more transparent about their building safety, which is kind of the angle that I'm taking, or at least something that I can't talk to the government about it, but I can when I talk to the developers. And this is something that is coming up, and I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks. I'm interviewing some of the developers. I'm going to ask them, hey, I know a lot of people that are interested in purchasing, but now they're concerned about building safety. What can you show us that will make people feel better or more secure? Like, be transparent. Where is the concrete from? Who's the contractor? What are the building practices? I know that, for example, one of the developer for Luminara, his English name is Jonas, Chinese, so that's his English name here. He was showing me, oh, well, when we did the excavation, we added all these pillars to like hold up, and he was like, oh, they're within this measurement to hold up the excavated site so that it doesn't fall, cave in. Share that stuff with us. That's the thing that that's my goal. That's the thing that I can do, is to ask them to be more transparent about it, and hopefully some of them listen. And this is how I want to navigate here, and this is what I would do for myself, but also for you guys, is when you talk to these different, like, there's a reason why I I don't show everything all the time because some of it, they give me bad vibes. Like, their sales office is dusty. They don't know what they're talking about. Who's in charge here? Why is there trash on the floor in your sales office? Why is your show house like not the best condition possible? If that's the case with you trying to sell, what does how are you approaching actually building? So more than anything, the perceived quality, and when I say quality, I'm including the safety aspect of the developer, is really what I'm trying to ascertain a lot of times. Like, do I trust them? And you can't fully trust them. This is the thing. There's nothing at 0%, and there's nothing at 100%. It's like, I trust them like 73%. I trust this other developer 82%. This other one, I don't trust at all. It's at 10%. That's how I'm approaching all this. I hate to be that guy, but all these people trying to get Kenya to be America might be better staying in America. Yeah, I agree with you. When you're looking for, if you're trying to say, oh, well, we need license and OSHA and this system and that system and this system, kind of like if you rely on that stuff and you're not, like, it's a risk. That's kind of what I was saying. Like my whole little monologue I was giving before, this stuff is a risk, man. I get how it works. Like in a certain way, I prefer the chaos over oppressive systems where there's no space to do anything. So I for sure don't want things to be like the US. But there are some components that can be used that can be helpful. But obviously they have to integrate and work culturally. So I'm not saying just do it like this. But I like that I have to do all this extra due diligence versus, oh, do they have their license? And that's the only thing I look at. No, let me check with the developer. Let me use my intuition. Let me see what's going on. I like that. The friction and the inefficiency is where there's opportunity. I think it's so hard to get ahead now in the West generally because everything's overregulated. There's no space for you to move. So I agree with you. And it's one thing ironically, I appreciate how things work here to some degree, although maybe certain things need to be tightened up, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense, Freedom? In a bid to lower labor costs, contractors, developers would rather hire an unqualified person for a few hundred shillings. Yes, there needs to be an economic punishment or a legal punishment for those things. The economic punishment is if you hire cheap labor and you make a bad product that no one buys it. I see no pride in quality. Savoring your right. OSHA laws have the general duty clause, which allows the government to hold employer liable. Yeah, you're thinking with the Western mindset with this kind of stuff. I hear you, though. What is the building name that collapsed? I think I missed it. It's Lumiere? Lumineer? It's this one. Wait. Oh, no, it's gone. Sorry. It's Lumiere. Lumiere. Part of the problem is these construction workers probably went to university and can't get a job and just settle for whatever. In the US, yeah. I'm telling you, if you try to save money, it will show, like the carpenter you're talking about, Who didn't measure? Don't expect anything high end. I didn't like. How do you know? See, there's no, just because someone charged freedom. Anybody I ask for something gives me a high price. So some of them are good and some of them are bad. How the heck do you tell the difference? What's up, Will Stack? Yeah, this is true. Other countries don't have this issue. Sorry to say, high expectations. What? Why would your high expectations lead to low quality? Okay, if there are schools that train the qualified workers, then I think we too demand to know where these what? Off the street? But see, you can hire unskilled people. It's the supervision that's required. You don't need a lot of skilled people. You need a foreman. Maybe you need one foreman per floor or whatever, or a couple, maybe a structural guy, a plumbing guy, whatever, to ensure that the stuff is done right. You don't, like, at a construction site, there's like one or two guys that really knows what's going on. The other guys just are following instructions. This is unchecked capitalism and zero regulation. No. Not really. I don't think so. I think that the lack of transparency is the bigger problem. I love Kenya, but it feels like too much of the business environment is short-sighted, transactional, and not set up for long-term investment. I think that the challenge as foreign money flows in. Well, that's the thing. You know, first of all, let's break this down. I do want to talk about this. So this comment, and maybe I'm accused of this as well, is based on this idea that they want money or want development. Because actually, there's nothing wrong with not developing if you don't want to. So for foreigners to come and invest and have these expectations, if people don't want that, then there's nothing wrong with rejecting that. Now, if you do want it, then there are structures and systems that need to exist to make money easier to flow. Now, the benefit of that is that if the money flows properly, everyone benefits. Now, clearly, it's kind of a problem. Even in the U.S., I mean, the top 1% is absorbing all of the money because a lot of things have been rigged, basically to extract all the money to the rich people. And I mean, Kenya has a big wealth disparity as well, but it doesn't have to be that way if the systems and structures cause the money to flow. For example, the unskilled workers being able to get paid a certain amount, or they get training and then get paid more. But none of this matters if people don't want to do it. And again, I'm not saying they should do X, Y, Z so that foreign investment can come in. I mean, if you don't want it, then you don't want it. This makes me nervous. I have 12 days to decide on the Gemini phase 2 or pull out. This is the problem. So the real problem I'm having is I don't know what to say to someone that feels this way. It would be irresponsible for me to say, oh, don't worry about it. You should, I have a level of concern. Would I still buy Gemini Phase 2? I like Gemini. I like that location a lot. Stacy, though, there's a lot of issues at Gemini with the sight lines because there's two developments being built around it. So I hope you've selected a good unit because the lines, everything's getting blocked off. Also, when they say you have 12 days, don't worry about that. You can always extend that. Don't. I don't know who you're working with, but if you work with Almasi, number one, we'll make sure you don't get a blocked unit because they'll mess around and let you buy a unit where they're building a building 3 meters away and you have your unit will be dark. And Gemini has specifically is an amazing location, really good amenities, but it really has, if you buy the wrong unit, it's going to be a catastrophe. And I find that trying to figure out where your unit is, the view can be very challenging. Be very careful. If you're working with another agent, I'll still help you. But if y'all keep using other agents after we do our launch, I can't help y'all no more. Okay? Because the whole point of Almasi and what we're doing is to make sure that you have all the information. Transparency is literally the whole point. So be careful about all that stuff, but also don't let them pressure you with that 12 days. I work in construction industry in America. Without OSHA, we would be working like Kenya. I would lose my engineering license. We need a full audit whenever buildings collapse so that we can establish bad. Yeah, exactly. Like, where was the breakdown? Because I could build something. I could like contract to build something and have something bad happen. It can happen if like maybe I didn't have enough oversight or if I overlook something. Like things can happen. The question is, where did it happen? Were the workers cutting corners? Okay, the workers were cutting corners. Where is the management? Why didn't anyone check on it at the company? And then, are they buying the right materials? Are they providing the right, like cement or concrete and all that kind of stuff? Like it could go all the way up the chain. And then you go to the government side. Well, does the government inspect periodically? I don't know what capacity they have to do that. I don't know. But see, what I hope is like, my only hope is that the money talks, and hope like if people stop spending money, they'll do something about it fast. If people say it's too risky to buy in Nairobi because their buildings fall down, trust me, they'll fix it. The developers will start advertising building safety. The government will start caring about it more because the money is going to somebody. And if the money stops, it'll get fixed. I'm hoping that this was enough, but I kind of don't feel like it will. I kind of think things next week will just keep going as usual. Hello, Ryan. Been following your footprints. It's inspiring. Keep it up. The system here in Kenya needs the best hands it can get. Thank you. Well said, Ryan. I do prefer the chaos. It has its warm. Yeah. So I hope I'm not like sounding like a condescending Westerner, because again, I like the somewhat flexibility that exists. And I like, it's less convenient to have to do all this, and less convenience means that it's more costly. But I don't know. I do like it. If developers get offended when you ask more transparency, I would want to know so I can run away from that. Well, and I don't know exactly. Like, part of it is cultural, where people just are closed and they don't, like, maybe they're scared people are going to steal their, like, methods. Maybe they just feel like they shouldn't have to. So I try to be a little sensitive to that. But guys, come on, just be transparent. Like, actually, I'm an example of this, and I bet you, as Almasi does better, and actually we're going to probably take some market share from other local agents, because they're not transparent, and they're not telling. They will sell you something and know it's not good for you, or let you buy a unit that gets blocked in 6 months, and they knew about it, but they wanted to get money. That stuff happens. But that's how things have been done for a long time. Now I'm in the market, and literally the whole point, and the team that I hired, they have not been in real estate. Specifically because I don't want them to have the training or mentality of real estate or salespeople here, because the attitude is get that money under any means necessary. And I think that as we have success, other people will start doing what we're doing. And yes, that will be competition to us, but it will make them be more honest and transparent if they want to do business, because otherwise you're just going to work with us. And it raises the game. That I know that's kind of a bold thing that I usually don't say, but we're going to make them step the game up. In my sector, see, this is the sector I could do stuff with: real estate sales, client services. I know what to do with that, and I know what you guys need in the market and the local market as well, because they ain't trying to deal with this nonsense either. And you know what's going to happen is either they go out of business because they're doing bad business, or they got to step the game up and do better business. Shout out to Boris Realty, because if you guys saw the podcast I did with him, outside of the podcast, we talked for 4 hours, and I was telling him my philosophy, which is about the transparency and education. If you watch his channel, he's got more education and transparency on there. Now he still has his style, but I was like, oh wow, he actually like implemented some of the things I said, because I just say what I'm going to do, and I'll tell people what I think they should do, even as competitors, because I don't really think they're either capable of doing it or willing to do it. They're either stuck in their ways, or they just don't have the skills to do it. So I give out free game all day, because I don't think most people could compete, even if they knew most people, like, if you want to get in shape, you know what you're supposed to do: eat less food, work out. But most people don't do it. So they can have the information. It doesn't matter. But again, I just want to, like, the whole point of what I'm saying is, if you bring competition, things will get better. Yeah, that's the one. That's how you. That's not the right spelling, but yeah, close enough. Also, bear in mind that at the end, the authorities need to provide an occupancy certificate to the developer. So from that point, the building should be safe. Yeah, but see, okay. You need to keep looking at a development, because once they close everything up, like now the plumbing's in the walls. Did you test the concrete? Now it has a coating and it has paint over top of it. Like, how do you know? There's no way, you can't just come at the end and be like, oh, it's good. You have to have routine inspections and phases. Part of obtaining the certificate are inspections. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Before providing. Yep. You're saying what I'm saying, or I'm saying what you're saying. Are they actually doing it? I don't know. Igbo Renaissance. Nothing. I get it. Nothing will happen. Everything sucks, and nothing will ever get better. That's your point. We got it. I don't believe that. I see. It's funny. Everyone, Kenyans are very skeptical about the government and everything, and I'm like, I feel like it is improving. Maybe I'm naive, but I'm like, look, they built Tillandsia Stadium. Look, they're building an overpass on Gong Road, although it's not very long. I don't understand. Kenyatta Avenue, a new overpass. They started the SGR to Navasha. Now they're borrowing a lot of money to do that, I guess, but they've handled international relations here very well between China and the U.S. The U.S. wants to do weird human rights, stuff sometimes and try to make you influence your country in weird ways. China's lending money, doing certain things. And U.S. doesn't like when you get closer to China. It navigated that very well. The debt, but I do see improvements. They like the main road in Kilimani, Arguins Kodak, they redid it. Galana Avenue, Galana Road, there used to be a huge pothole that I would drive over every day. They fixed it. Now, someone's going to say, oh, well, it's getting close to election time, so they start doing stuff. They cleaned up a lot of Mombasa Road on Waiyaki Way, or on Waiyaki Way towards Mombasa Road. Looks a lot nicer. So I believe that I think that a lot of these things will improve. They won't improve tomorrow. Long-term investment, short-term investment, real estate stocks, it all comes down to individuals' needs and goals. They differ from one person. Just can't into a room 15 minutes ago. Your video is freezing a bit, but not. Oh, sorry. What internet am I on? Oh, let me go to the faster one. I have 2 internet services because I don't believe when they tell me the speed, so I'm testing them. Oh, see? The 5G for the other one's down. Sorry. That's the best I can do. But if the system here in Kenya emulates Western standards, shouldn't it also emulate the quality of the West? I actually think the Chinese competition is making the buildings better. Because if you look at a 3-year-old development, a 2-year-old one, a 1-year-old one, and the show houses that are available now, they're better. I don't think the West is a good thing to compare to. I think there's components that can be used, but I don't think in totality. Evening zero, interesting you say that because Thailand, for example, has had some high-profile collapses. The government should have taken advantage of this boom and build new suburbs and infrastructure to match. Oh my God, this guy has the worst takes ever. Tattoo City, which is owned by some New Zealand investment firm, there's nothing even over there. It's not even owned, like Oh my, never mind. Ryan's Web Nation interview was inspiring. Seeing you thriving is such a joy to see. Thank you. Did they add more stuff to do in tattoo? No. They just added more cost. Kenya is rising, but accountability and quality should be highlighted for Kenya to maximize its potential. Yes. And I hope it gets navigated. You know, it's not an easy thing. Like Hal was talking about, like, I'm sure talking to the US officials and then talking to Chinese officials is probably really tough because they're both pulling. And then you have a bunch of people that want to come bring capital, but how do you ensure that that capital? I think one of my big things is like, there's no point of having all this investment if it doesn't like improve the lives of all the way down the class structure. And how do you make your rules and systems so that when money comes in, that it flows again to everybody without overtaxing? Because the taxes are kind of crazy. Like the taxes are kind of prohibitive of doing certain things. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Buildings collapse everywhere, including the US. I meant general quality work. Yeah. Not to diss Kenya. Good point. There have been recent collapses in Thailand and Bali, but somehow they didn't get the same press visibility. Root cause analysis. Yes, we gotta. I suspect there's many overlaying issues on top of each other. The last time I was there, there wasn't much there to do, and the buildings all look like someone just cut and pasted. Yes. Well, the houses in Kajani Ridge look nice. I just don't know why you would live there. Agreed. I'm super late and have to watch back, but it's important to call out the actual development company, which is not Hoskitsol. It's Kenyan. Yeah, but you put your name on it. What's the big logo say? If they fail to complete the project, can you get your money back? You're supposed to check your contract, but enforceability of contracts, be careful. Hoskitsol is just BS advertising. The actual developers is Kenyan. I chose the agent about a month ago while in Kenya before I discovered your page. I would have loved you. Yeah, I know. I'm not complaining about it. I was just saying a corner unit. Oh, those weird corner ones. They're not that bad. On phase 2, so you're facing kind of towards Waiyaki Way. That's not too bad. Most recent high-profile collapse in Thailand was a Chinese developer that failed to meet expectation when critical earthquake hit. Yikes. Hope Pandora will be okay. This is crazy. Bali builds are a mess, but they're lower risk due to height. Also, most new villas are nowhere near complexity. Full information and transparency are key. Regulation is a double-edged sword. Yes, I totally agree. Strict rules in EL Tate will stunt investment and slow progress, but there obviously needs to be a solid baseline, like the comment about OSHA-like adoption. Yeah. I think Tattoo City should bring Six Flags indoor and outdoor water park. Very idealistic. But yeah, I mean, that would really help them. Nairobi Disney would be nuts. One can dream. Wasn't the recent collapsibility? No. I don't think they were slated for demolition, although I did see people say that. Dr. Decker with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. And she's a member. Thank you. Hopefully, guys, I don't know what to... I feel bad because I don't have a conclusion to this. I don't have the answer, Sway. I have more questions than answers. Also, as a side note, I went to the Tanzania and Kenyan border. Um, Namanga. I went to Namanga, which now I have driven almost everywhere in Kajiado County because I'm secretly scouting where I'm going to build a ranch. And I was invited by a couple different Kenyan friends, which I prefer. Also, I've been learning Swahili, so I can kind of understand what people are saying a little bit. Like they were responding to me in Swahili, like they started speaking to me in Swahili, and we're just going with it, which was cool because I'm like, okay, you trust me that I know something. But I feel like I was in a dream. Actually, a lot of times when I'm here, I feel like that. But when I'm in the countryside, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And I don't like to hype things up. But dang, Kenya is a magical place. Magical Kenya. Like, I've never seen such amazing, and maybe because I'm from New Jersey and it's just not very aesthetically pleasing. But I just can't believe how beautiful. It's a 3-hour ride south through Kajiado County, and it just like the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, imagine. Look at how beautiful everything. Hills, little farms, little towns, ranches. Because people say like Garden of Eden and all that stuff, and I'm like, guys, don't be so corny. But deep down, I'm like, kind of is. We camped at this one camp place, and they had a pool and they had a buffet and all that stuff. And then a giraffe came out of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, there's a giraffe. And then it came up to the fence, and I was able to like pet the giraffe. And then his leg was getting stuck on the fence. I had to lift. His leg was real heavy. I had to lift his leg off the fence. I was scared it was gonna, because I think they'll hit you with their head if they get mad at you. And they're big. But like, how am I just sitting here interacting with a giraffe? Like, and it's not a zoo, like just a giraffe. Because I guess it's a conservancy, so it can be on the land or what. I don't know how all that works. But the giraffe and it was following me because I was walking to the car, and then I see the giraffe just walking, catching up to me. What? And then we were at some kind of club in Namanga under the beautiful hills at sunset, hanging out. And people are just so cool. Like Kenyans, cool people, man. And there's all these sappy things I could say. I don't like saying sappy stuff. That's why it was hard for the Web Nation Africa thing, because I'm like, because I see the other stuff, and that's their own story or whatever. But to me, I'm like, I better not sound like that. But sometimes I'm like, man. But I feel gratitude every day. Like, how am I even here? How did life take me here? I never thought about coming here, 10 years ago as a kid. Like, when you plan out your life, I never thought about any of this. And I don't know, it just feels like a crazy dream to me. And I love that I could be here. I love that I've met people here that invited me out, and I almost didn't go because I thought it was Saturday and not Friday. Whole thing got crazy, and I've been working a lot, and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go. And I was like, oh my gosh. Igbo Renaissance, if you type one more time in all caps, you're getting banned. Like, grow the hell up. But yeah, man, just like, And all the Nairobi stuff is cool. I wish Kai would have came because Kai loves the city. And I love the city too. Like, don't get me wrong. But there's something different about the countryside. Well, Stack, I know Kenyans roll their eyes at Westerners turning Anthony Joshua's road accident in Nigeria into a Kenyan. What? Download the National Building Code 2024 to know where they go wrong. Also, it will help you know. Yeah, but here's the thing. And I tell people this, like, you can look stuff up online. Like, people look up the residency stuff online and different rules and everything, and you should. But the way things work in practice and how they're written, very different. I think people also need to accept that there always is an inherent risk with buying off plan. Absolutely. Especially in Africa. Absolutely. But stuff gets built and things fall apart anywhere, accidents happen. Absolutely. Now, do we want, I think we just want more transparency, and when these accidents do happen, proper accountability. I think those two things would really improve the situation. But I agree with this tone. This summarizes my point of view. You've said it better than me. I agree with this 1,000%. And when I consult with people, that's what makes it hard and why we have such a long talk a lot of times, because I have to give you all the context, and I really want you to land wherever you land with the conclusion. It is improving not just because for the people, but the authorities realize that Nairobi is a money-making machine and that needs to be treasured. So you, over time, things will get better. Exactly. I hope they don't mess it up. Which project? Yep. Okay. Stop hating on Tattoo City, Ryan. You're missing out, and you'll find out after the. Yep. I don't need to. You don't need to catch every ride. You know. No, thank you. But if it ends up being cool, I'll come back and say I was wrong, and it was cool. It's cool now. 5 years later, I'll tell you, dang, I should have listened to Freedom. He was right. I don't like that this foreign company is doing it. I don't like them silver homes or whatever. They copy and pasted a British estate town. Why did you copy tiny British homes on this big tract of land? I'm against it. Culturally, I think it is weird. Financially, it just doesn't. I don't think it adds up. The whole thing, I don't like it. Utopia never works. People are giving me utopia vibes about it. I'm sorry, I'm against it. I prefer the chaos of Nairobi. I prefer the randomness and freedom outside of that area. I'm not impressed by stop signs. The news says planned demolition of a building in Nairobi goes wrong and leave. Yeah, I don't think that's correct, but again, this is the journalism is crazy. I've been in Namanga too on the way to Arusha. I loved it. Nice weather and vibes. Very nice, very nice. Sweet. That should be an interesting journey. Tattoo City looks more like a tarp on some life vest than a ship, but I hear you. Well, if you should unsubscribe from whatever news source that was. Cheers to the road trips. I got to do more. I'm going to do Nanyuki before I leave, I think. I may not even make it to the coast like I'm supposed to. I'm sorry, guys. Ryan, people think the whole building collapsed. No, it was just the 2 floors. I showed the picture earlier. And I should correct, I don't know how to say that only part of the building collapsed. I know how to say it, but every time I don't want to keep saying part of the building collapsed versus collapse. So that's awesome. I want to be a giraffe whisperer too. Yeah, I'm learning. I can't wait to get a ranch. Bro, thank you for the $10 super chat, but you have to stop typing in caps. Also, all you want to do is complain, and I know what the problems are. Your head is bigger than the giraffe's head. It's not. A giraffe is a big boy when you get up close. The top floor collapse made the rooftop pool filled up with recent winter. Well, that's a good, I didn't even think about that. I fell in love with Kenya day one and was born in Ethiopia. Love Ethiopia too, but boy, Kenya. Isn't that crazy? I thought that was interesting. Because you are from Ethiopia and you chose Kenya. I think that's a really, or to go. I'm not saying, you're saying whatever, but I thought that was interesting that you chose to look into Kenya more. I did read your super chat despite the all caps, but stop doing that. It's really annoying. It's really unnecessary. I feel like it's a 6-year-old person. Like, why are you doing that? Not gonna lie, Ryan, you and Kia are low-key restoring the reputation of Black Americans in Kenya. Was a rough year, but most of that crowd, I was worried, but the fallout of that situation worked out really good because I think the passport bros took Kenya off the list because I tell Kenyans, I'm like, you're not really getting the best of people that come here, not just Black Americans, it's just everybody. Like the Europeans, some of the Europeans that come, they're a little dusty, but because they're foreign, people look at them a certain way, but I'm like, guys, these guys are not, you're not getting the best and brightest most of the time. And so I was worried they was going to kill our reputation. And then people are looking at us funny. Thank goodness it worked out. Did you see it? I usually don't get messy, but Kia was kicking that lady's back in for leaving and going to Thailand, which I also thought was a bit odd when you make your whole platform about, moving back to the continent and all that, and then you move to Thailand and complain about it. I watched the whole video, very earthy, didn't make sense that much. But also that's one thing that I'm happy that I think I conveyed the message in the Web Nation Africa video. Don't come here with delusional expectations because you're going to mess your life up because people are selling their homes, come in here with this thing that this is the Garden of Eden, which don't tell them it kind of is. It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen my whole life. But calm down with all that. People are going to give you a hug that you're the returning brothers and that you won't have any problems here. Wait till you hire a fundi. Try to get real stuff done, especially because I realize Westerners are very naive to a lot of things because they're used to systems protecting them. So many of us are kind of gullible. So they're getting scammed, and I'm hearing the scam story. I'm like, why would you even go? Like, I feel like you didn't deserve to get scammed, but that was stupid. And so a couple bad things happened. Now they want to leave. Because when you come with a certain expectation, getting disappointed is very hurtful, especially when you tie this emotional savior complex to coming to Africa, like your life is going to be like. That was one of the questions they asked me. How did I change from coming to Kenya? And I'm sure I've changed, but I'm still me. Because you take you with you. Wherever you go, there you are. Thinking you're going to move to any country and it's going to solve your problems is not realistic. And so a lot of these people coming to the continent for those type of reasons is never going to work out well. But yeah, it was a crazy year, and I appreciate, being considered one of the good ones that's helping the reputation. I hope I don't make any too bad mistakes, because all you need to do, get loose one time, and you can easily go from a hero to a villain. And I'm not perfect, so I try to. And even I get scared about these critical conversations because it's really easy to take what I'm saying in a bad way, or in a colonizer way, or in a condescending way, or the superior way. I get so worried about coming across in those ways. But I do think there are some Western systems that could be helpful. And I do have criticisms about certain things. But I want it to be better, I don't know. Kunza will be dope when they finish it. So I haven't gone by there yet, but I would like to at least go by the location. Guys, I need to get to some other counties because Kajiado County got me in a stranglehold, as they say. Like, I'm scouting land. Like, I know exactly. I have a dream of what I want, because it's like rolling hills and stuff, and then there's the big hills in the background. I want to be like kind of close to the big hill, but I want to be on like a little bit of an elevated section, and I want to have like a rooftop on the house so that I can just look at the hills in the background. Oh man. So I want to be on an elevated spot near one of the hills, probably past Kajiado town. Maybe like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And the road to Namanga is really good. So like, it's a really nice drive. It's not a lot of wear on the car. Magadi Road, on the other hand, is kind of beat up. So I don't know. Nothing needs to be restored. Kenyans don't owe anyone anything. They have every right to voice their opinion. Wait, you're totally missing the whole point of what he was talking about. How long will I be here? April or May. Even though they're trying to copy Denver, Colorado. Well, about what nation? No one cares. You're light skinned, especially. We could talk about this, but I don't know how much we want to get into it. But it's about your well, part of my presentation is how I look and my skin. Oh, Oscar can't come. Okay. No. Your next super chat in all caps. I'm not reading it. I don't care if it's $100. Exactly. Plan accordingly. That would be an issue. Plot twist. It's still up on Associated Developers website, so I'm not sure. Funny enough, though, that would be the third project. Yeah, people need to manage their expectations. Like, come on, guys. Also, Black Americans don't think they're American for some reason. Y'all are American. Y'all, like, don't get me into that. Well, yeah, that was interesting, but that's the same lady that was hanging and drinking with the passport bros in one video and then did a video exposing them. Oh, yeah, she was talking trash about them. Yeah. When, the people from California with all that super liberalism, Kenya's like, Africa's pretty conservative. So it never makes sense when they got the pink hair and the super liberal point of view. I'm like, and you're moving to Africa? Americans are very expressive and have big personalities and mannerisms that give them away. Yeah. Frida, my point is, I don't disagree with you. And yes, I use light skin as a shorthand for my appearance, but it all goes together. So could I be more articulate about it? Yes. Which, when I do content, it is my responsibility to articulate myself clearly and fully so that most people can understand. Some people still won't understand. So I do take accountability for, you know, I could see why you're saying what you're saying. Which is why I try to think about what I'm talking about. But that Web Nation thing was like 4 hours. You know that? So their editors are really good because I thought that they actually pulled out probably the best parts of that. But I'll tell you, the more content you do, the more opportunity there is to say something dumb. So I'm very conscious of that. And maybe that's one of those things where I definitely could have articulated myself better. Albeit I still stand on the fact that I'm light skinned affects how people treat me. Even Kenyans, the lighter skin is considered more attractive. If you watch the filters they use, they always look yellow for some reason, even though they're not that skin color. Why did they do that? Dr. Deck, I loved your Traverse Culture video too. Thank you. I hope, oh, she brought up Tariq Nasheed. I got scared. I said, oh, he's done said the boogeyman's name. Anyone talking about what happens with CBD? I don't want the same degradation to happen to Westlands and other. You know that I was thinking about that the other day. Westlands is the new CBD. I don't know. Oh, okay. No problem. Talk to those un-American Americans. They think they're Californian and not, well, I think they're Californian too, because woo, they on some other stuff. Coastal states, towns do feel different than inner cities in the US, but definitely America first, especially when abroad, it's obvious. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, guys, so my conclusion about the building safety, I feel like it should have a huge impact. And my level of risk in my mind for any building in Westlands or the upmarket for the capacity of it being unsafe in my mind has increased. But there's nothing I can do about it. So I just feel like it's a little bit more risky. I hope that in tandem with better city planning and zoning laws and enforcement, that building safety improves. The actionable thing that I will be doing is when I get a chance to speak to developers that care what I have to say, which some of them have been caring. And I'm not saying they're just listening to me, but they at least hear what I have to say. I would ask them to be more transparent about the things that they're doing for building safety, especially if they're doing extra things or care about building safety, maybe more than some of the other developers. They should come out and talk about it more. I think that's my conclusion and what I can do. If you guys are thinking about buying, need advice, reach out. Now, Almasi Realty is a company that I'm starting and launching with some other folks that is separate from me as an individual, but I also consult with all the Almasi clients. So right now, either way, you can get in touch with me. The lead form is all over the place, so you can go through there. But I think we're going to elevate the level of service and transparency in the real estate market. Obviously, if you guys are thinking about buying, I would love for you to use our service. And I do think that I'm still working on, we may have deficiencies in our customer service in the beginning. We want to make sure we get our systems and communications as good as possible. But I can guarantee you that you will get transparent and some of the best information working with us. And we'll take a lot of time to make sure that my whole thing is that you get what fits what you're looking to buy and is the best option for you. So that's the thing that I can stand on. So that's my little pitch. Not really a pitch, it's actually kind of what we believe, and that's my whole training spiel the whole time. Actually, let me talk about that real quick. I want to buy next month when I'm there. Hey, hit me up. Did I talk about this last time? So one of the interview questions I had for my team members, or when I was interviewing for the team, was imagine project A pays double commission to the company and you get more, or project 2 that gets less commission but is better for the client, and the client asks you your opinion about which project they should buy. That was my interview question. That was one of my key interview questions that I had for everybody that comes to the company. Don't tell them. So actually, also in the meantime, this is not sponsored, but this is Desperado, which is made from sisal or blue agave, which is makes tequila. It has a little sweetness, but it's like a beer. It's pretty good. If you're in town, try it out. If you like, you don't want a cider, but you don't want like a lager beer, Desperado, try it out. Sorry, I digress. That was weird. But that was a big interview question. And I guess I want to tell you guys that because that's what's important to the culture of the company that I want to build. We need you to already be planning to launch out. Hey, so I don't like to take investor money, so we got to do it the slow way. But there's a plan for building. We would buy like an acre and then build a show house, subdivide it, build a show house, and then do off plan for the other 2 houses. I would pay to build the show house. And then if you guys like the show house, and we'll document the whole process and all the problems. I'm sure I'll mess everything up, but the end product will still be good because we'll just have to keep doing it till we get it right. And then sell 2 other homes. So, you have an acre, you divide it into 3 pieces. We'll say 4, but really it'd probably be 3 because you have to add a road and some walls and stuff. And then if we can do that successfully, then we can expand from there. So that's kind of years down the line. Tina, member, the Web Nation and Traverse interview this week was great. Thank you. $20 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was very uncomfortable for me. I kept telling him, I'm nervous. I don't talk about myself. And those are more geared towards, you know, the whole expat thing. And I don't know. Almasi definitely didn't tell you to buy that because we don't deal with Hoskitsal, or they don't deal with us. I don't know which way. Almasi Development, building you can trust. So that is something that we're doing. We're still putting some parameters around the different qualifications, because we have on our website, if you go to almasirealty.com, some things are still broken on there. Give me a month, it'll be better. But the plan is, in the database for the properties, we tag them with an open listing, which just means we were told about it, we know about this development or land or whatever, but there's no due diligence, be careful. Then there's a reviewed listing. So we've looked at it, we've confirmed something. I've seen a title deed, I've seen something, but it still needs more due diligence. And then we have Almasi Verified, which we're still building the parameters around, but that will have the due diligence, we'll have everything where I can stand on it and say, and as a company say that this is a legitimate listing, whether it's land or a developer that we think is highly reputable, has good documentation, et cetera, et cetera. I'm still working on the rules for the tagging, but I think that's something that'll be interesting in the market, that can kind of, again, transparency and some clarity of decision making is what we're going for with that kind of stuff. Is kind of the vision for that. We are accepting listings, like if people have land for sale or whatever, we can make it an open listing. I do ask that at least we see some sort of proof of ownership. We don't have to do a full due diligence for an open listing. And I would love to get more land on there. I've been approached a lot of times, but I'm very skeptical when people reach out. So they gotta, like, don't be like, when people say opportunity, collaboration, you know, showcase, this and that, I go like, oh, I have a deal. I don't need money that bad. Like, you may have a deal, you may not. Okay. Oh, we need an investor. If you need an investor, I'm going to ask you what you've already done. If you haven't done stuff already and you talk about you need like, what? Break your back a little bit, build something, do something, and then ask for an investor. And I can't connect y'all with no investors because I'm not having them mad at me when whatever opportunity doesn't work out. Good question for building a team with empathy. Feels like a question with an obviously right answer. Like 90% of the people said the one that makes more money. No. Guys, this is how I'm telling you the culture and the sales culture. Someone was mad that I said it was like the 1960s. I promise you, the sales culture is sell at all costs, because most of the people that I asked the question to said the one where the company makes more money. You think it's the obvious answer because we have different business ethics and training. The culture here is get the bread. Get the bread. It don't matter. F that client. Oh, hit the thumbs up before you leave. Thanks. And thank you, Willis Wilson, member for 6 months. Shout out to you. Dr. Decker with the $20 super chat. Igbo Renaissance with the all caps, 10 pounds. He's still trolling me. I almost hit that block button because you were graffitiing on the Ivy Park video. Like whatever you was talking about had nothing to do with that. But I try to leave the dissenters in there, the complainers and the dissenters, because disagreeing is not bad. Freedom does it, but he does it good. And I think Freedom was almost a hater. He was almost tagged as a hater for a while, but he's come around. Maybe we won him over. I don't know. But again, I don't mind the criticism, like the light skin thing. I see what you're saying. The Web Nation and Traverse interviews this week were great. Thank you, Tina. Willis Wilson with the $5. Would you list any off-plan apartments that are fully paid off? Yeah, so we're quickly going to have to hire a data person because I need someone to call around and get all the resale listings and put them on the website, because I keep asking for people for that. There are some, and it'd be much, because people ask me and then I get the WhatsApp images and then I forward them to you. It's crazy. We need to get the resales on the website. It's part of the goal. But I built the whole website by hand. And all the information up there, I had to upload manually. I've done everything. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's why it's slow, because it's me doing that. I got to train the team. I'm going to all these developments. I'm climbing the 19 floors while I'm sick to get the drone shots for the Diplomat and Gaia. I'm editing most of the videos. I'm going to Tanzania. I'm tired. Nima Choka, I'm tired. Naenda Kulala, Sahi. Or soon, not Sahi. Okay, so that's why I'm slow. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I'm slow. But yes, I need to get it. I need to get that stuff very fast. Technically, get money and F that client is often the sales culture in the US. Maybe financial services. Not. I don't think that applies. I think your average real estate no, it's a different level here. I'm sorry. It's a different level. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Little time. I got sunburned. Oh, you see that? I had to lay in bed. I was sleeping on my back. It was hurting. See, being light skinned, you get burnt. But I don't know. I'm weird about sunscreen. Getting burnt's probably worse than using sunscreen, but I don't know. Like, I don't know about the Bill Gates. I'm just kidding. The Bill Gates sunscreen. No, I'm kidding, but I'm just a little, like, I try to go natural, but I got cooked. And I suspect the UV here is stronger, or at least at this season, because I got cooked real fast. I didn't even feel it coming. You know what I was surprised to know is that Kenyans really use sunscreen a lot, despite having skin more equipped to deal with the sun. But I guess if you're out all day, you still will get burnt. Get a mineral sunscreen? I got to look into that. Because I don't know about the SPFs. But getting burnt is bad. So don't let people trick you into not using a chemical, because medicine does work. You know, see, nuance. You know, I'm in the middle of a lot of stuff, but at the same time, like, it's kind of weird. Have a great week, all. Thank you, Dr. Deca. Get some rest, bro. Peace chat. We need 100% natural sunscreen for melanated skin. That's the other thing. Like, maybe I don't need the SPS 99. I just need the light skin SPF. I don't know. All right. Good night, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully, I delivered on the content. I don't know what to say about this building safety thing. I think it's a big problem. They need to get their act together. And someone lost their life, and that is nothing to play with. That, like, some hardworking person died in a building for the pursuit of profit in an avoidable way. That is not acceptable, and something should be done about it. I hate saying stuff like that. Like, what does that mean? Something should be done. But all right, guys, see you next week, hopefully.